Yeah, don't be afraid. Not only don't be afraid of the fears, but embrace them, because they're par for the course, and that they contribute to your growth.
This is Your Purposeful Life, and I'm your host, Adrian Starks. I'm a speaker, podcaster, narrator, writer, and entrepreneur. On this podcast, we're taking a different approach to the understanding of purpose because it's not a one-size-fits-all. There will be a variety of guests expressing their purpose through the human mess we call the human journey. These conversations will guide you to a better awareness and understanding of your unique purpose in the daily life of mistakes, changes, and challenges, and how to put that purpose into action, bringing you more experiences of success, fulfillment, and achievement on your terms. Let's go on this journey of purpose together. Welcome back, everyone, to Your Purposeful Life podcast with your host, Adrian Starks. We're going to talk today about this art of pushing the boundaries of convention and also accepting the challenges, which you have done quite well in your musical career. And you're going to provide some tips and some clues today on how to do that for the people that are listening, that are artists, that are musicians, writers, who knows what kind of artistry you're in, because this gentleman here has really blazed a trail. And I'm looking forward to learn more about what he's doing in his career and how his career came about. Asher Laub. What can I say about this gentleman? There's so much to say, but I'm going to start with his bio here. Asher's fan base is 100K, 100,000, with 45% USA, UK, and Canada across social media. He's been featured soloist across 4 continents on PBS 3 times and at a major concert venues including Madison Square Garden, Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, and many others. Asher's notable musical career began with classical violin training at the tender age of 2, leading to his first formal concert with the Buffalo Philharmonic at 13. Since then, Asher's improvisation expertise across multiple genres has inspired an innovative career as a cutting-edge electric violinist. And we will talk about that too. The electric violinist part is really what captured me. As an independent artist, Asher has found ways to monetize his music career by both pushing conventional boundaries in composition and implementing creative strategies that inspire fans to keep consuming his unique music. Asher's high-energy shows have been featured live on PBS and have made headlines on major media outlets such as CNN, WABC, NBC, and the New York Post. Asher, I want to know, where did you grow up, man? How did you come about with this, all these talents combined into one? Where did you grow up, and what impacted this for you?
Well, I literally grew up upstate New York, near Buffalo,
Okay.
in a pretty intense family that had an ultra focus on music in terms of the skills, but not with the ultimate intention of producing professional musicians, oddly enough. And when I became a professional musician, when I entered, when I moved to the tri-state, my parents were shocked that I made it a professional full-time career. And but I'm like, Mom, Dad, you just surprised, like you started me at the age of 2, weekly lessons, concerts as a child. So why is this surprising to you? So yeah, I had a real grounding in music education, and I'm going to say that what really ultimately led to my ability to make this a full-time career, beyond just having the skills as a child, was kind of thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Genre-wise. And that kind of leads to the electric violin concept. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Thinking outside the box. That's how many people do that when they create something new or they push boundaries. And speaking of the violin, what attracted me about you was the violin. There's so many other things I want to share with our audience today. But I played the violin when I was in middle school, Asher. Now I was pretty good. You know what? It was very fun and I was pretty good at it. And I was thinking today about, why did I stop playing? And I realized that I was on the basketball team too. And before practice, I had my last class, which was the violin, which was orchestra. And I remember carrying my violin in my case, and all the basketball players would say, "Hey, Adrian, you got your little guitar there?" They would always make fun of me. And so I started hiding my violin. I think that discouraged me from playing. And if I knew what I know now, I'd have told them just go and go somewhere with that. But I really enjoyed playing, Asher, and you have inspired me to to look into it more again and to start. But yeah, it's a beautiful instrument. I mean, when you tried the violin, did you also try the viola at one point, or did you just say, "Hey, the violin's my thing. I'm going to stick with this one"?
It's funny. I didn't know much about the viola until some of my friends were like, "Yeah, this is a viola. I'm playing a viola. You know the difference between that and violin." Because my head was okay. Only violins exist. Violin and cello. I completely forgot about the viola. I didn't really feel the need to do much with the viola. I kind of because I guess I saw the violin as this kind of lead instrument, and the viola often doesn't get the kind of credit that the violin does. Unfortunately, I know there are a couple of violists out there that are really kind of changing the game on that one. But I want to just sort of speak to what you said about the fact that you were discouraged from playing the violin as a child. That really eats me up because I had similar experiences, but I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice to drop it because my parents were paying for lessons. I think it's sad, and
It is.
there aren't enough pop icons that are playing the violin that make it kind of cool that kids at that age would at least shut up when they see like a peer of theirs playing the nerdy instrument. Because there's all these there's like Lindsey Sterling, David Garrett, these big hotshots out there that are like gracing concert, doing international tours as a front woman on the violin, and there just needs to be more of that because it really it's painful to me when I hear stories like this, and
Yeah.
hopefully it'll change in short order.
Yeah, hopefully it will. I mean, that's why I wanted to share it because there's so many people out there, young people, who are wanting to be musicians or wanting to take that stepping outside the box like you did and try something different, push the boundaries a little bit, and they're being discouraged. And so I want this conversation to bring about a purpose of encouragement through what you're doing and also what I'm discovering through what I'm learning from you through our conversation. Now, the violin is one thing, but the career is another. What brought you to choose this type of career? I mean, there's so many people that they have these great gifts and they play, and then they drop it later or they choose something else. What brought about this idea of you choosing to take this path?
So, as my wife states, I did not choose the career chose me,
Ooh,
which is a little
okay.
strange. You wouldn't typically
Okay.
expect that response because most people, they proactively, they go to school and they have intentions to pursue the career at all costs. For me, it was like the reverse. I had other degrees, and I'm like, I don't need that crap. I want to do this. I'm already paying the bills of music, so why am I pursuing all these other highfalutin degrees? And it's just been sort of the rest is history. And it hasn't been easy, but it's been very rewarding.
That's interesting. You said it hasn't been easy. So, and you faced some challenges, along your career that's pushing the boundaries, but also personal challenges. Now, there were some things you faced back in 2014, which altered the way that you do things now, or you created something to do differently with what you experienced. What was that in 2014 that happened?
Yeah, so I ended up in a wheelchair due to adrenal insufficiency. The precursor to that was like a systemic inflammatory condition, just kind of brewing for many years. When I regained my strength, which wasn't supposed to happen, I'm still supposed to be in a wheelchair as we speak. Uh,
Oh my.
I had a lot of kind of rekindling of spirit when it came to my music career, and considering I didn't think it would ever happen again, and I kind of went all nuts with the dancing. I brought in like choreography and professional dancers to kind of highlight my joy and my love and the fact that I just don't care what people think about me or what I do, and just to complement my music. So that's what I did.
Wow. How long were you in a wheelchair for?
Many months, a bit of a blur. Um, but I mean, I remember a lot of the details of it. I don't remember necessarily the timeline. It was many months, might have been 6 months or so, and then it gradually kind of got up with some interventions. But I was on like a permanent dosage of Cortef, and then I was able to wean off of that, which wasn't supposed to happen.
Mhm.
So, and not only regained my strength, but kind of was better than I had been prior. So I've been able to kind of manage pain with finesse for the last 10 years. I don't know if it's going to continue, but I count my blessings every day, and I hope to continue to inspire people that maybe feel like they're in a rut, like I was at that point.
That is so powerful. Let me tell you right now, Asher, because like your tagline, your challenges are your blessings, because you took this moment in time. You're in a wheelchair, and they were presuming that you'd be in there a lot longer, but you did not accept defeat, in your words, and you decided to do something about it. You got out of that wheelchair and you chose a different path for your career, incorporating dancing into it and changing how people see things. Like, I was reading about it, and you're not only doing dancing, there's hip hop, there's EDM, there's rock, there's genres, there's break dancing, there's acrobatic choreography, all these things that you're adding into your live performances to show the unstoppable spirit and joy. And this is important because you wielded a purpose. Now, I know that your wife said your career chose you, but I also believe that you chose to partnership with that career. Because a lot of us, we could be chose to do things and we just say, nope, nope, that's too tough for me. I'm going to walk away from this, do something much easier. The challenge you faced, you're like, no, no, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it even a better way now that I have this opportunity to. And that's what I feel is powerful about you as a person of doing that. Now, speaking of challenges again, you faced personal challenges, but what kind of challenges did you face in your career by pushing boundaries, by bringing on something different?
Well, first of all, coming in as a lead violinist, that's not something that's easily accepted by the masses. It's not something pushed by the major labels.
Why is that?
If I'm What's that?
Why is that?
I think it's sort of the way modern music has been shaped and pushed, where the money's been kind of funneled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are kind of, the big dollars, the banks that are really kind of emphasizing and investing in what they think is going to be a hit or a success or an immediate return on their investment. And things are obviously changed because, since the advent of the internet, where independent artists are able to sort of show millions of people that, okay, there are different ways of enjoying music, and in the process, the types of music that's been popular in the past has sort of reemerged and merged with modern music, and that's kind of what I've tried to do,
Okay.
and I continue to do, cross genre type of music like Neon Dreams, Atlantis, all the music that you'll hear on my Spotify, iTunes, Deezer. It's a blend of different genres: electronic, hip hop, classical, that type of stuff.
And Atlantis being like is that the newest one that you have currently? Is Atlantis that's really doing, I mean, amazing on the charts, by the way?
Oh, thank you. Atlantis is my latest original,
Okay.
and but I've released Lord of the Rings, a 26-piece symphony medley, because I fell in love with the Amazon series. I don't know if it is a cover. They're not my original melodies. They're my original production of those melodies. Kind of wish I had made those, but and then I have another cover that's going to be released on the 15th. I don't know if I should announce that now or just sort of send you the update on the single. It's roll off. Sorry, roll up, not roll off. roll up based on Wiz Khalifa. So that's like an
Oh, okay.
instrumental medley. I'm gonna be releasing an original after this. I stagger them. So
That's all right.
original
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah, send me
Yeah.
the link to that, and I'll be happy to update it for our audience members to be able to go and take a listen. That's what I'm talking about. You're definitely pushing the boundaries and trying different things with the different types of genres that you're expressing yourself through. And that's what it means, I believe, to be an artist, is to say, although the industry is saying no to this, we all know what no means in a sense of being a rebel or an outlier, in the words of
Ah,
Malcolm Gladwell, right? We know
yeah.
that no means next option or next opportunity. And for the people that are listening today, fellow artists, musicians, people who are wanting to come up in the game and to be impactful and to possibly even make some money, what are some ways or tips or things that you could tell them that they should possibly look at doing or possibly doing better?
Specifically within music or just within any?
Let's go with music. Let's go
Okay.
strictly for our musicians here today.
So there are two, I would say there are two general ways to go about it. You could do something really highly unique that intrigue people, that make people talk, want to share your content. And what some other people do is they hop on trends and then they create their own little twist of the trend.
Okay.
So those are two like basic strategies that may be helpful and have been helpful to many people in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
So jumping on some trends and doing something that hasn't been done before. And should they just take failure as something that's going to happen and they should just roll with it?
You put the words in my mouth. I didn't even mention that. Yeah. Failure is God, I forgot the phrase, but failure is pretty much a prerequisite. It's a precursor to success. You can't succeed unless you have failure. We don't see the failures of all these successful, moguls and
You don't.
and artists, because they're not presenting that. Everything's curated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what kind of the emphasis is on in social media. You post the stories, all your kind of flaws. I kind of enjoy posting my flaws on social media, on the stories at least. I can just they delete within 24 hours. But yeah, don't be afraid. Not only don't be afraid of the fears, but embrace them, because they're par for the course, and that they contribute to your growth.
I totally agree with that. It was well said. And you mentioned too about social media, and I talk about this a little bit too when it comes to what it shows us. The I call it the frozen moments in time of the good times of people. And what you don't realize is that if you follow them around for 24 hours a day, you're going to find some pretty funny and interesting things about them that you will not see on social media. And we're living in a time now, Asher, and you know about this, where everyone is wanting to be just perfect to the media. They want to show only their good side. But I find that it's also the other side, the imperfection. And I just had an episode about this previously with a guest that was on. She talked about perfectionism and how it takes us away from our purpose. But I also want to talk about how
Yeah.
when we try to be perfect, it really stunts our growth as human beings. And that's why I
Mhm.
like what you were going through. You went through something in your life that put you into a path of something even better and stronger, but it gave you more responsibility because you just took it on. Now, speaking of taking on new things and having a good career in what you're doing, because you're making money, you're traveling, you're inspiring people, and you're doing things that haven't been done before. What are some of your most proud musical accomplishments?
Well, they have yet to happen, to be honest. But
Okay.
you can say I gotta say my well, first of all, the concerts that I've been able to perform at are definitely something that I didn't anticipate ever achieving in my career. I mean,
Hmm.
first of all, becoming a musician, a professional musician, is an accomplishment. I did that from day one. I just didn't anticipate it happening. Again, it kind of chose me in that respect. Not that it happened by accident. Being able to perform for some major acts and alongside some big guys like Griffin, and just capturing the attention of various celebrities, playing for like the King of Morocco is definitely up there in terms of like wowness factor. These are cool things. But again, they're not like my ultimate, like, okay, look at what I've achieved. I think producing the music that I've been able to produce in a unique fashion that's kind of different from anything else you're going to hear is probably my hidden achievement, and that's all I can think of at the moment. I'm making music a full time career is that's what, getting out of a wheelchair is my biggest achievement by far.
It's a great achievement. I mean, I guess an astonishing achievement. And I'm very impressed by it and motivated by it because you're so humble too. Because when I asked you that question, you're like, well, hold on for a second. There's a lot more for me to do. And there's things that I've accomplished, but the big hasn't really happened yet because you have this vision about where you want to go with it. And that's truly inspiring. That's a really great thing to hear from you. Where do you
Thank you.
see your career heading, my friend? If that's the case, what do you?
Probably more towards the touring end of things. I'm raising a family, so it's pretty challenging to. I get calls all over the country, different parts of the world, and I'm like, can I take it? I have to factor in my family's needs before I
Of course.
I do these concerts, these performances, and I do, but I can't take them all. So to answer your question, as my kids are a little bit older, I have like, a 3-year-old, almost 11-year-old. I see myself doing like larger scale tours featuring my music instead of playing alongside other artists or being featured on a couple of songs alongside other artists at major
Hmm.
venues. So that's where I see it heading. Maybe I'll show up at America's Got Talent, um, show them a couple of hoverboard single performances. I don't know if you've seen that on social media. I've been
Yeah, I have
kind of
to.
dabbling in some interesting things.
I believe that will definitely happen for you. And when that happens, I will say, hey, I interviewed this gentleman here. This guy's amazing. But your career, where it's heading, I believe it's heading in some phenomenal places because we need more artists out there like you who are willing to push the conventional ways of doing things. And the fact that you're doing it in so many fashions expresses the power of music in itself. I really feel like when I think of music, I think of a lot of things, but when you're combining genres the way that you are with the violin, I haven't seen that. There are people who are playing the violin out there doing great things, but I haven't seen the breakdancing, the choreography with that, and hip hop and all the other things associated. I haven't seen that much.
Yeah, and you're not actually not going to see as much from me uh, because I keep raising my prices every time there's like a producer who wants to do it, who wants to like make it a production because
Mhm.
it's really hard. It's like it's so much work, like creating choreography around new music, and I think that's why this needs to be a wide scale tour where I'm kind of playing like a series of songs that are built into the choreography instead of like new songs every time somebody wants to book an event or a concert. That's just anyway. I just needed to share that because not every post that you see is me breakdancing and playing violin. A lot of it's just sort of improvising and
Of
just playing a
course.
range of music and responding to my fans.
Mhm.
People are sending me DMs and emails all the time. They're like, "Can you play this song, that song?" And that's what I've been spending a lot of time doing. I'm like learning new music all the time, and I wish I had the time to like add choreography to the new song requests. Unfortunately, I don't. So I just kind of want to build it around my original music.
That's good to hear. And speaking of when you're building your original music, you're getting inspiration from certain things because that's how things start. What types of composers or performers have inspired your own compositions?
Well, I mentioned David Garrett. He's a pretty awesome crossover violinist, violin virtuoso based in Europe, Germany. He's one of the select few that have like really crossed boundaries there, pushed the envelope with the instrument. I mentioned Lindsey Sterling and I don't know, Damien Escobar. There's a couple others that have inspired me within the context of the violin. Although kind of what I do is a little bit different from what they do. Um, and John LaPonte, Chick Corea, Joe Venuti. These are guys that are steeped in like fusion jazz, and as a result, like improvisation, they do it in their sleep while they're drunk and high. Like they could just do this stuff. Like they don't have to think about it. And that's honestly what I do. Also, I don't really have to think much about the improvisation. To kind of feel it.
Mhm.
If you think too much, you're not able to really do it too effectively.
I like
So
that. I
yeah.
like that. Yeah, we're always inspired by other people. I think that's where a lot of people on social media don't talk about that. They say, "Well, this is mine," but it's like we pulled it from somewhere that allowed us to take that idea and take it to the next level. I've always been inspired by multiple musicians, Asher, and one I can think of right now for the classical realm is Yo-Yo Ma, the celloist. Really love him. I think he's absolutely amazing. Been listening to him for quite some time. Over my lifespan, I was inspired by, of course, Beethoven. My favorite ones are Symphony 5, Symphony 7, then Moonlight Sonata. It was
Oh,
my
beautiful.
top three. And then, of course, John Coltrane. The
Oh
jazz.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, get down with John
Who could
Coltrane.
forget about John Coltrane? Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I did, but
yeah, that person there, true genius with what he did with the saxophone. And I pull from people also, when it comes to what I do and how I speak, I just really feel like music is a way of connecting us all. And I want to show a great appreciation for you, Asher, for the journey of that human mess that you went through, of the things that challenged your body, challenged your mental perspective. And you took that and you took a purpose out of that. And you said, I'm going to take this challenge here and turn it into something that's going to be a blessing for me. And I think that is something we all can pull from today about if we feel like, hey, I'm having a really bad day, my day is over. Think about Asher and what he'd been through. Think about what happens if you were in a wheelchair for a certain amount of time. And how did he pull out of that? And think about your life. So with that being said, Asher, what I would like to know is how can our audience reach out to you to learn more about what you're doing, some next events that you have coming up? And I'll be sure to include this also into the show notes of this podcast.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So a bunch of fans have been messaging me, first of all, on social media, Instagram, Asher Laub, Facebook, Asher Laub Music. A lot of people have been emailing me, asherfans@gmail. And that's kind of connected to my newsletter. And people are, able to kind of get updates on my newsletter. I don't have the link to the newsletter offhand, but I can share that with you. And I find that probably some of the most meaningful messages I receive some of the most meaningful messages through email. I don't know. I guess they feel like there isn't as much clutter with the other comments and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I make sure to respond as quickly as possible. So YouTube also. So it's very easy to find me and to message me and just DM me or post a comment. And I always try to respond.
Okay, great. I'll make sure I put all that information into the show notes, the links for that, and they can reach out to you. And hey, here's the thing, everyone. Follow Asher, support his work, spread it out there because we need these kind of things to inspire us to push beyond our own boundaries and to really accept the challenges in our life and accept music. Like open your mind up for goodness sake and learn some different things from music and to be enticed. Asher, this has been wonderful. There's two things that I would like to have from you before this show ends today. The first question of the last two I want to ask you is, what does living a purposeful life mean to you?
Well, living life to its fullest kind of requires you to be connected with your inner self, because there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people telling you how to feel, what to look like, what you need to be happy, and especially in this consumer society. And ultimately, it took me a painful event like 2014 to realize that I need to really work harder on looking within to find that inner joy. And that's sort of like what led me to what I'm doing today, what I'm doing now. And it's not the easiest thing in the world, but that's ultimately, I think, hopefully I'm addressing your question.
You are.
What the prerequisite is to achieving happiness and joy and fulfilled sort of life is asking yourself what you need, filtering out the noise. And I think that's ultimately my goal.
Love it. Filtering out the noise and really connecting with our inner selves. And that helps us to live a more purposeful life, in the words of Asher. And I really like that a lot. Last question for you, Asher. Would you be able to provide to us a little snippet or a little taste of the violin today? Not any of your, not any of your music, your music that's already composed, but something that you could just give us a little taste of the violin itself, so we can kind of refresh some memories for people who have forgotten about the classical genius of playing the violin.
Well, I guess once we're talking about classical, I could just play Monty's Chardash. Everybody's always requesting that one. And then I'm happy to just send over some music for your podcast to play.
Absolutely. We love that.
Atlantis is something I regret I haven't been I haven't played in the last couple of weeks, so I got a little rusty on my own composition. Then it gets really, really fast.
Beautiful. To say bellissimo. This has been absolutely wonderful. We have to do this again. We have to do it again, my friend.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to,
All right.
Adrian. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Your Purposeful Life today, and I'm your host, Adrian Starks. Download this podcast on any platform of your choice by going to our website, yourpurposeful.life. Join me on my social media channels and be a part of the Your Purposeful Life community. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that like button with a purpose. Let's help you shape your purpose your way.